Hey students, Ms. Bird here. In this lecture, you are going to learn about some facts that you might know, but are actually wrong. So you'll see down there that I have facts in quotation marks, and that's because they're not actually facts. They are not true, even though lots of people think them. They might even be printed on books. These are not true. So technically, they're not really facts. And so today, we're going to set the record straight with two of those facts. So let's dive right in with our first one. So our first, quote, fact is that Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world. Here we have a picture of Mount Everest, which is in the Himalaya Mountains in Asia. You might be thinking to yourself, what? Mount Everest is totally the tallest mountain in the world. Everybody knows that. Well, what we have here is a question of vocabulary. There are actually two ways that we can measure the height of a mountain. So, the first way we can do that is a mountain is highest in regard to how far it soars above sea level. Meaning, if we are going to measure from the sea level up to the tippy top of a mountain, that is its height or highness. So you can see over here to the side that Mount Everest is 29,029 feet above sea level. Nothing to cry about there. That's still quite tall, and Mount Everest is in fact the highest mountain in the world. But actually, the tallness of a mountain is measured from its base to its summit. So the highness is how far above sea level, tallness is from base to summit. So I'm going to pause, and you should take notes there. So if we're using our definition of tallness from sea level to the top, Mauna Kea in Hawaii is the winner of this award. Here we have a picture of Mauna Kea. And so you can see down here that above sea level, so we're back to talking about that first definition about height, Mauna Kea is 13,799 feet. So Mount Everest beats that. But when you count the enormous portion of Mauna Kea that's underwater, it's 33,465 feet tall, making it the clear winner of the tallest mountain in the world. So, pause, take a few more notes. The next, quote, fact that we're going to set the record straight on is that the Great Wall of China is the only man-made object visible from space. Well, of course you know by now that this is not a fact because what we're doing here is debunking facts. But here we have a picture of a portion of the Great Wall, which is thousands and thousands of miles long running through China. And this is not true. So really, at nighttime and in low orbit, meaning a shuttle or a satellite that is close to the Earth, not out by the moon or farther than that, there are lots of man-made objects that can be seen. Why at nighttime might you be able to see more than during the daytime? Something to think about. But if the conditions are clear, meaning there aren't lots of clouds or rain or anything like that, astronauts and satellites can see large cities, very large buildings, even some very large roads and things like that. So there are lots of man-made objects that can be seen in space. However, the Great Wall is not one of them. And there are two reasons for that. The first one is that it is really long. It's thousands of miles long, but it's not very wide. Even in its most wide parts, it's only 30 feet across. For most of it, it's only about 10 feet across, which is not that wide, not wide enough to be seen from space. So that's our first reason. The second reason is that the Great Wall is made from rocks and materials from the surrounding area, from the surrounding countryside in China. So if it's made from that, why might that make it hard to see from space? Well, if you're thinking that it might just blend in because it's kind of all the same materials, you would be right. So pause and take a few more notes. So the last thing we have for the Great Wall is, well, where did we get this idea in the first place that the Great Wall can be seen from space? Especially if no astronaut has ever claimed that this is true. Where did we get this idea? Well, the first big reason here is that this myth or this rumor was thought of and spread widely before the space age even started, before we had ever sent anything into space. Some people, just thought this idea up, and it just spread throughout different cultures, and, it became widely believed. So that's the first reason we got this idea is, before anybody was in space. The second reason is, well, it seems credible, it seems believable, it seems plausible, right? It's really, really big. It's a very large man-made object. So at first, if you don't think about it maybe too much, or if you've never been in space, then it might seem like a believable idea. But, of course, we know you can't see it. So pause, take a few more notes. So in conclusion here, you should always, always check your facts, because people can be wrong, books can be wrong, the internet can be wrong, your teachers can be wrong. So you should always make sure that you've done your research and that your facts are in fact facts, not facts with quotes around them. Okay, see you next time.